time to fulfill my my duties as a streamer. We're going for Candace Owens. Okay, we're going for the big tuna. Well, this is a good sign. This is a real good sign. It's always great when they have to put a disclaimer up on the page.
Yeah, absolutely. We're gonna get into it. We're gonna get all of it.
Let's do it.
All right. You guys let me know when we're speeding. I'm
Okay,
gonna do a
wait,
soft intro.
who's Dr. Stella Emanuel? Oh, it's this lady. I believe in demonic spirits that sleep with women, not demon sperm. I really, really hope that the rest of this interview can live up to this. I'm extremely excited. I didn't realize who this was, but I'm very happy now.
Intro, and then I'll turn to you. Okay. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are rolling into another episode of the Candace Owens Show. There is a meme that I love about COVID-19. Is a patient going to their doctor and they ask the doctor, "Doctor, how long will these lockdowns last?" To which the doctor replies, "How am I supposed to know? I'm a doctor, not a politician." And I thought that was so hilarious and spot on given everything we have seen with COVID-19. It seems that this virus is quite political, quite divisive and interesting.
Weird, Candace. It's almost like you had your sound so disingenuous. It sounds like maybe you had something to do with it. Oh, Ruel, you missed it. Like I think like a week or so ago, we did a video. We watched a PragerU video where they made a fucking comedy skit. They made a comedy skit roughly parroting The Office based on COVID-19. It's one of the worst things I've seen in my life. Like they have no concept of too soon. Like since that video came out, like tens of thousands of people have died more. Like tens of thousands of more people have died. This is wild.
Because you would think that
you guys want links? Fine, I'll give you a link. Here you go. We'll go back to PragerU, and I will back up my claims as I usually do. Here we go, back home. Let's see, where is it? Yep, here it is. There you go. Knock yourselves out with this incredible piece of comedy.
be allowed to hear more than one perspective from a doctor. It doesn't matter what you have, you're allowed to see another doctor for a different opinion. But what has been so unique about COVID-19 is that we have seen doctors censored, doctors shut down, doctors libeled, doctors...
Because the scientific consensus isn't on their side, Candace. Yeah, when you're arguing against the existing science, people shut you down. Usually other doctors or scientists.
Smeared for having the wrong opinion. I have one such doctor with me today, Dr. Stella Emanuel, a physician in Texas. Welcome to the Candace Owens Show.
Thank you, Candace, for having me. I'm really honored to be here, and I love you, so I think we're going to have fun.
I think we will.
Doctor, but how can you be sure that she hasn't been infected by demon sperm? She is pregnant. She could have a demon inside of her right now.
Yes.
I remember seeing this video, and I'm just trying to jog the memory of my viewers. There was a video that went absolutely viral, and it was right around the time where no one was allowed to go against the mainstream narrative, and we're all going to die from COVID-19, and they're acting like this is the bubonic plague, and there was a coalition of doctors.
In that case, how do I feel about Galileo? Galileo wasn't imprisoned by other scientists. He was imprisoned by the church, my dude.
Standing and talking about their experiences actually treating COVID-19 patients, of which you sort of led the charge and said that you were having a tremendous amount of success treating patients with hydroxychloroquine. And wow.
Yeah, that was a watershed moment.
It was a watershed moment.
Because basically, before then, everybody, I would say the whole world was locked down in fear. The whole world, because in the history of viral videos, initially when we started out, it was like doctors, and then very soon they practically just clipped my clip and kept showing it over and over, and Facebook jumped on it, was taking it down, Twitter was taking it down, YouTube was taking it down. The more they took it down, the more viral it went.
But that was the thing. It's like I hadn't even thought to watch the video. And then because it was censored, and I thought to myself, why would doctors be censored?
Yes.
I went to then go pursue the video, and people were emailing it around too. So forget the social media. It was going viral.
Other, yes.
Yeah, watch this.
WhatsApp,
They've taken this down.
They were taking it down. It was an amazing moment. But let me kind of say how it built up to that. I trained. I'm from Cameroon, West Africa. I've been in this country for close to about 28 years. I trained in Nigeria.
What's the date on this interview? It is from November 15th, so about 10 days ago. So did I not read the second half of your comment? Well, phi-wise, basically you're misrepresenting my argument. So that's my problem with your comment. Essentially, it's not a similar conversation. It's just not. There were other scientists of his time that disagreed with him, but not all of them. They had a very different way of finding a scientific consensus back in Galileo's time than they do today. Today, we can literally go and look at like the world's collection of knowledge on the internet, like instantly. So like the scientific consensus is much easier to find now. You understand that, right? Like this is why like finding one expert who doesn't agree with climate change and another expert who does, and putting them both up as if they have equal merit is like such a common fallacy, or at least was, for like the past decade. These two things do not have equal scientific merit, and I think pretending that they do and trying to appeal to Galileo's example is a pretty weak argument, my dude.
Calabar, University of Calabar. I took care of patients with, we use hydroxychloroquine, mefloquine, camoquine. We use most of the quines to give them to pregnant women, to children, to babies, to old people. So these are things that I'm used to. In fact, back home, our parents used to give it to us, as we call it Sunday medicine. Every West African would know what I mean when they hear something.
I mean, phi-wise, I just generally don't like arguing with dumb fucks. So I guess that's my general problem.
Sunday medicine.
Sunday medicine.
Sunday medicine. We took it for malaria. So we
Do you believe that Mark Zuck and Bill Gates are far smarter than the average person? Absolutely not.
took it for malaria prophylaxis, and everybody took it on Sunday. My parents right now, they are in their late 70s. They are actually they've been taking it they've been taking flavoquine for years, just to prevent malaria.
I think Lavender Gunner, I think that's a really dumb thing. That's a dumb conclusion to come to. I'm sure you and your friends are smarter than Bill and Mark Zuckerberg. Mark Zuckerberg is just a creep who in college made a MySpace clone to rate hot girls. He's not smart. Bill Gates, you could argue, might be smart. But also, like, I have people in my community who are way smarter than either of them. One of the people in my community literally helped create the internet. So I think she's probably smarter than both of them. And maybe you and your friends? I don't know. I don't know how smart you and your friends are.
Area. So it was something that I was used to. It wasn't something that just came out of the rabbit hole. So because some people like, well, the girl just thought about hydroxychloroquine and jumped on it. But so when COVID started, I was in Texas. I mean, my career kind of went all over the place. I did general medicine in Africa. When I came here, the first residency I got into was pediatrics, so I did pediatrics. But when I finished my residency in pediatrics in New York, Bronx, Lebanon, I moved to Louisiana, and I opened a pediatric practice. And then I started working in the emergency room, keeping my general practice skills, not just keeping general practice skills, becoming really skilled in taking care of urgently sick patients. Mm-hmm. So I've been doing that for years. In fact, for the past 4 years, I actually stopped clinic practice, and I just did ER for about 3 years. Mm-hmm. About this time last year, I opened the practice in Texas. And I think that, I'm a preacher, so everything in my life is kind of planned. People think I just showed up. I didn't just show up.
Well,
I've been fighting this battle.
You can't just show up to be a doctor. So any idea that you came out of nowhere,
yes,
I mean, it is not easy to become a doctor. It's certainly not easy when you're starting your career in camera.
We have a lot of doctors, though. Like, no one's saying it's easy to become a doctor.
Africa, and then coming into America, not a very easy transition.
Yes.
You've got so many barriers ahead of you. You come to this country, you do your residency, you do the right thing. It's not so any person pretending you came out of nowhere apparently has.
People are like, oh no, she's not a real doctor because she has an accent. I say, yeah.
And that's not funny. Right?
No. That's not why people aren't saying you're not a real doctor. It's because of shit like this. This is why people are saying you're not a real doctor. This is from October, by the way. It's less than a month old.
I just told him that's okay. I downloaded my certificate offline.
Yeah.
I was like, that's true. I'm not a doctor. I just downloaded it online or something.
Right.
Or I play one on TV. Y'all just back off.
Yeah.
So it's been a lot. So, and then of course on the spiritual side.
Oh, and I have no doubt that she's an actual doctor.
I've actually been praying and fighting for America. If people look back at messages I preached 5 years ago, I'm talking about messages like, fighting for the soul of America. Mm-hmm. We've been praying for this nation for years. We didn't just show up.
When you say we've been praying for this
nation? Our ministry. Okay. I'm a pastor of Firepower Ministry, and our ministry members are like all over the nation.
Firepower Ministry? This is the first thing that came up. This was literally the first result that I got. And it's from her YouTube channel. And it's Deliverance from Family Line Witchcraft. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with her having, like, religious beliefs. I don't think that's a problem.
So send down fire, send down fire, send down. Holy Ghost break my yoke. I shatter and the prey departed not. Upon
I'm just trying to get at what this is.
Moving, are waiting to answer when you want to move forward. Archives that are waiting, some written laws and codes that have been written and kept about you. So when you want to move forward, this law, no, this one can't move forward because this is what happened in their foundation. But the Bible says here in the book of Colossians 2, it says, and you being dead in your sins and uncircumcision of your flesh, has he quickened together with him? Marching, we are able to conquer the land. Every witchcraft on my family line, die. Rakabashatabasata, die. Come on, kill that witchcraft in your family. Kill that witchcraft. Kill the voodoo. Kill the Santalaya. Kill them. Rakabashatabasata. Kill the Masonic powers. Die.
Okay, well, that's a thing. Um, anyway, I don't know how to transition out of this, but I certainly wasn't expecting that. Um all right. Anyway, we're I'm kind of speechless by that, to be honest with you. It is Demon Sperm Lady. Yes, you're correct. Um okay. The ministry all over the nation. And guys, I'm just gonna say, yeah, that was weird as fuck. It was weird as fuck. But also, I'm just gonna say she's entitled to her religious beliefs. That's fine. Where I draw the line is that she's a practicing doctor who, again, spreads things like this. This is kind of where I'm drawing the line, right? I draw the line at like spreading bunk science. All right.
Nation all over the country. We have a prayer line that we've run for like 12 years every night. We've run that prayer line every single night for 12 years. Wow. And we've been praying for the nation. We've been standing in the gap. You understand? So when this happened, it happened because it was planned. You know how it is that you've been preparing all your life for something? And then when it drops, everybody's like, oh my God, where did you come from? I've been trained for this. I've been prepared for this. When I told people that, I had an interview, they're like, oh my God, they're going to come after you. I said, no, they won't. I'm God's battle axe and weapon of war. I'm trained for this.
Right.
I didn't just show up. I'm not scared of any of these people. I'm not scared of this diabolic people.
I also do want to point out
these diabolic people? Lady, we're not demons. We just want to make sure you're a doctor. Because you're saying some wacky shit.
The fact, and I always say this, is just the difference in the fear factor that I think we Americans have, which is perhaps due to just the remarkable privilege that we're afforded in this country versus going to an African country and seeing what people have to deal with. Like you said, we've taken malaria pills since we were children. I mean, the diseases are rampant there, right?
Yes,
and so the idea that you would buck and be fearful when you hear about COVID-19, you're like, I'm prepared for this moment.
Exactly.
I'm ready to fight.
And
this is such a weird dichotomy here. Like, on the one hand, conservatives will constantly be like, yeah, Africa is weak and they're full of disease. But also COVID-19 is going to upend their entire countries and economies. But it's only whatever is most immediately politically expedient to them, right? Like, Africa's either weak and full of sickness and disease and can be easily just like, oh, they're primitive. Or it's like, oh, well, you're used to these diseases, so clearly you are skilled. This is like the one time I've heard this from Candace Owens.
A lot of doctors in America are kind of scared, of course, because everywhere here is hyper-specialized. Everybody's hyper-specialized. And then a lot of the doctors are saying that, oh, this doesn't work. They all have exotic specialties like, plastic surgery and, dermatology. They don't see patients. They don't see COVID patients. They've never seen any, So, of course, they're scared. They hear the narrative of, oh, this medication will kill you, and then they're scared. But hydroxychloroquine is like one of the most I would say it's one of the most safest medications.
Yeah, now let me, and I'm pulling this from a book I read a while ago, but this is the origins of hydroxychloroquine. It comes from the bark, right, in the Amazon, and they used this literally, actually, when colonialists were trying to get into Africa and they were dying, thousands of them kept dying because they kept catching malaria, they eventually discovered in this bark that they could take this and it would make them immune to malaria. So this has been around for
forever.
Very, very, very long time.
Yes.
Okay.
So it was kind of a little puzzling to me. I remember my mom telling me, is chloroquine now different in America? Because I hear they say it's dangerous. Is that not the same thing we've been taking here for a long time? So we had all this going on. So when COVID hit, I was in Texas in February. About a good maybe 15 to 20% of my patients come from the Middle East, And we were all scared. We got all, I mean, if you see the videos we did earlier, we looked like people from space. We had the spaceship thing going on, PPE, white suits, we got the Tyvek suits, everything. We had everything. We were prepared not to get this disease. And then a pharmacist called me and told me that, they're using hydroxychloroquine in Europe. And we're getting news coming out of China that they're using it. I said, okay, wow, that's amazing because we know this drug. So, of course, I went to dig a little further, found out that there was an article in 2005 that was written under Anthony Fauci that this medication.
Hammy Fly, thank you very much for hitting that follow button. I appreciate it. And guys, we are so close to 800 followers. I would really like to break that today. Let's do it. We can do it. Hammy Fly, you're a real one. Out of 450 kids, we had one go to Princeton. Let's not pretend that it's easy to get into an Ivy unless you are one of the rare few who can buy in or get in for sport. Zin, thank you very much for subscribing at a tier 1. I appreciate it very much. Also, hello. I hope you're having a fantastic evening. Chris Matthew, we are watching an interview with the Demon Sperm Lady. And talking about COVID-19 and listening to some of her sermons.
Command them to die. Ronda bashaka basaka. Family line witchcraft.
Anyway, it continues like that for a while, I guess.
Works. It not only works, it also the mechanism of action.
And also she's now talking about hydroxychloroquine and how it's actually extremely beneficial for COVID-19, despite information from the contrary coming from our own government. But whatever. It's only a deadly pandemic. Yeah, I mean, I went into the, again, I need to clarify, it's fine for her to believe what she believes. It's fine for her to preach how she preaches. It's fine for her to believe all that stuff. Where I draw the line is by spreading bunk science that could potentially endanger people. Skipping out of the whole subject, there's more than one. Carly Max, what do you mean? Oh, are you talking about this stuff? My sister needs that stuff for an autoimmune disease. As this all happened, she had to fight to find it. That really sucks, Zin. I'm sorry. Yeah, people are being wild right now about COVID-19. Also, people, Zin is pretty cool. You should maybe consider going and following his channel. Good evening, Kinder.
Prevents viral uptake.
Hold on. Sorry.
Replication.
I want to go back to that.
Mm-hmm.
You're saying that you went back and you found an article from Dr. Anthony
Yes,
Fauci.
It was from the NIH under Dr. Anthony Fauci.
Under Dr. Anthony Fauci from the NIH saying this drug, hydroxychloroquine, works.
Yes.
Works to do what?
Works for COVID.
For
it was
COVID.
Like SARS-CoV.
Wow.
Not only did it work very well, in fact, there was
This
an
is
aspect
from the
said
NIH.
It actually worked both at a treatment and a vaccine, because number one, it stops the uptake of the virus. It stops replication, and it stops. It opens zinc channels and allows zinc to come into the channel. So
And
this
why
was
am I just
studied
hearing
under
about
them.
this? That would seem like some really big breaking mainstream media news.
Yes,
Why am I just hearing about this?
Because they don't want anybody to know.
Okay.
So of course, I went and dug into. There's actually an article on the Harrison Book of Medicine. I've forgotten what edition it was, and it was actually the whole mechanism of action of chloroquine was.
I'm sorry, but again, guys, again. This interview was November 15th. That's when it went live. This article came out November 9th from the NIH that she is citing that says hydroxychloroquine does not benefit adults hospitalized for COVID-19. Anyway.
In there on SARS-CoV and on coronaviruses. And, sometimes they say this is novel virus. Virus is not so novel.
DJ Ulrich, thank you very much for the follow. I appreciate it extremely much. We're 5 followers away from 800. Let's do it. Let's hit that arbitrary number that will make my OCD very happy.
this is a coronavirus. We've had them around for years.
Right, this is a different
This is
strand,
a
but we've
different
had
strain, but we've had them.
coronaviruses.
The flu is a coronavirus. A lot of the common colds we have is a coronavirus. They are coronaviruses. So when I saw this, I was excited. So of course I jumped into it and I started treating patients. I initially just took the malaria dose and tweaked it. So the combination that we use is hydroxychloroquine, azithromycin, zinc, vitamin D, and vitamin C. And it was amazing. The results were incredible. If somebody come in within 2 days of being sick and I put them on...
Art of Gaming TV, thank you very much for the follow. Though I thought you were already following me. Polar's World, thank you very much for hitting that follow. Also, people out there, go follow Polar's World. They were on the panel with me last night. Seemed to be pretty cool and chill, pun intended. Beat Nick Gee, thank you very much for the follow as well. I very much appreciate it. Thank you. Can't be sick if you're dead. Very good point. Very good point from chat. Ray Call, thank you very much for hitting that follow button. Gosh golly, y'all are just the best. Just Beatnik? Okay. I'll try. I try and make a good effort to say everybody's name fully, you know? Let's see, I found a study investigating hydroxychloroquine, blah, 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 as a prophylactic. In healthcare workers found infection rates went up with Yeah. Also, Robot, looking extremely handsome tonight. I would even go so far to say the handsomest Robot. Now you sleep at $7.99. Oh no, it's gonna kill me. I'm not gonna go to bed until we hit that 800. Okay. Oh, handsomest Robot. Sorry, I was trying to make a good compliment. I'm sorry if that made you feel weird. Okay. I don't know. I feel like Dead Things can be pretty sick. It's 90s metal emo friend group. True. Serious Twitch, thank you for the bits and for the additional robots.
On hydroxychloroquine, zinc, and vitamin C, they got better within like 24 hours and 48 hours.
Wow.
These were like amazing results.
Right.
So, I mean, it was so amazing. I was so excited. So I went on Facebook and I started talking on our doctor groups. I said, oh my God, I'm using hydroxychloroquine. It's working. The patients are getting better.
So you're
Aw, Zin, thank you very much for the 200 bits. You guys are being really generous to me tonight. I appreciate it. Also, handsomest Robot, I didn't realize that was a smiley face, so I take back my apology. You're rad and the handsomest robot I've ever seen.
being a doctor going, my job is to
Yes.
heal people. I'm using this. I found these articles,
And
you know,
it's
that were done on the
working.
under
Under the NIH, yes.
the NIH, not the NHS, the NIH. And here we go. This is
And it's
amazing. This
working.
is great news. I should
Yes.
want to preach this. Everybody should want this. And at the
Aw, you know what? For Sin Vex, thank you very much for the 5 bits. And I also appreciate your constant flame of hope. Keep the flame of hope alive, comrade. Maybe Trump will indeed win in 2024. We can only hope, you know? We can only hope that he will win and be able to rescue those children. Archangel DeKalb, thank you for the bits as well. What sort of doctor is this person? I think she might be Trump's COVID doctor, but also she's she believes in demonic spirits that sleep with women. And she also has some extremely strange religious practices. But yeah, she's basically a reverend doctor. Yeah.
same time,
I got
and
a
this was
text.
back in the time actually when people were very fearful and didn't know answers. Interestingly enough, and I particularly remember this in Nevada, the governor then, after the president says, you know, hydroxychloroquine works, they stop allowing doctors to prescribe it. That seems like a very
crazy-
weird thing to do.
No, it's not a weird thing, because you need to be able to get people who actually need it the drug. Also, Lavender Gunner, thank you very much for hitting that follow button. You might very well be the 800th person to follow this channel. You hold a special distinction in my heart. Oh, that's awesome. You're a handsome robot that works in pharmaceutical research, so you know how to look for this bullshit at least. Handsomest robot, I might need to tap you onto the show sometime if you're comfortable to talk about pharmaceutical stuff. That's pretty rad. Also, yeah, it's not weird to limit the distribution of hydroxychloroquine because people rely on the current supply lines in order to combat other life-threatening issues, like what Zin's sister has. Yeah, like people need it for autoimmune disorders and other things as well. If you suddenly had a run on the pharmacy for hydroxychloroquine, it would be a big problem unless you had the adequate supply lines.
Because now I'm asking this as a doctor, if let's say I am healthy and I start taking hydroxychloroquine, is anything bad going to happen to me?
Not really.
Not
It's actually
really.
good for you. It has a lot of protective side effects.
Okay.
It's not, if you are healthy and you took it, I mean, we took it as prophylaxis
Were we
for
almost,
malaria.
are we low in stock in hydroxychloroquine? Why
No,
would
we're
a
not.
governor step to the plate and say, I'm just going to outright ban this and not allow doctors, even if you're wrong, I mean, what's the harm in allowing doctors to try and allowing patients to have this medicine?
You know, when sometimes things happen and people say, well, that's a conspiracy theory. I tell people, even way before President Trump said this, hydroxychloroquine was already controversial. In France, they actually, it used to be over the counter in France.
Like guys, in case I need to really make this point, unless it makes your heart stop, which it can, yes, you shouldn't be taking medicine that's not prescribed to you unless it's over-the-counter stuff. And also, again, you might have a decent supply of a certain medication, but if 300 million people in the country show up to start taking hydroxychloroquine, people who actually need it for their conditions are not going to be able to get it.
They took it off over the counter in October. Before
Well, thank you for cheers,
the coronavirus
everybody.
actually hit. And then in February, they actually made it a Schedule 2 drug. You know, so it's not that, this is not just about America.
Wow.
A lot of people think
Forsin Vex, thank you very much for following.
this is about President Trump. It's
So
way
this used
deeper.
to be over the counter
Yes,
in
they took it off.
France.
They took it off.
And when did they do this?
Like in February was actually banned it, so it had to be a Schedule 2 drug. It needed
Okay.
a doctor's prescription to get it. And of course, they will not let the doctors do it. It wasn't only
Part of the reason they banned it was specifically because of the side effects that some people were running into that was causing them to have life-threatening complications.
me. Dr. Rao, a renowned virologist, did a lot of work. This is like a renowned virologist. He did a lot of work, saw a lot of patients. They attacked him. We had Dr. Armstrong, Robin Armstrong, in Texas. You know, the doctor, in Texas City, they had about 50-something patients in a nursing home, and he treated them with hydroxychloroquine and Zitromax. And I think out of the 50-something people, just one died. So we saw all this. This was like way back in March, April. So we were...
Again, okay, so this, guys, again, this is why you need to think more about stuff that you intake from right-wing publications. You need a citation here, because like we did a thing one time and only one person died. You need more evidence for this. Like maybe that one person died because they were treated with hydroxychloroquine. Because guess what? Again, the NIH that she referenced has specifically said that it doesn't help with COVID-19. So again, let's see, also the whole self-prescribing thing, it's similar to medicine commercials. Patients come in wanting specific medicine they saw on TV. Yeah. That's super weird to me. I feel like advertising medicine should be very illegal. Yeah.
excited. So everybody was like, wow, people that, those things encouraged me, but they attacked him, they vilified him, the bots came after him. I'm thinking to myself, this should have become like the standard of care in every hospital in the nation, in every nursing home in the nation, instead of patients being sent home to die. But they vilified him, they attacked him.
Look, I don't want to get into like the chicken feet told her so or whatever. Like, I think maybe that could be kind of racist, but like, I do find some of her religious practices weird, but I don't think her religious practices should be an excuse for her to advocate for junk science.
The bots came after him, and so it became really crazy. So the more I spoke up, and they attacked me. Oh no, it doesn't work. You should do a randomized, controlled, double-blinded study.
I
said,
agree,
no, that's
Firewise.
unethical. You don't do a randomized study when people are sick.
And
you
yet
don't
at
do
the
a
same
double-blinded
time,
study
and if
when
I
people
remember
are
this
sick.
correctly, at
Yes.
the same time that they're saying people shouldn't be touching hydroxychloroquine, at the same time they're saying that when the vaccine comes out, you can take it. There wasn't even a vaccine, created yet, and they were already pushing vaccine. This is going to come, and this is going to be fine, and you should be able to take this. it does seem quite strange.
Yes, it was strange. It is strange.
It is strange,
There's
right?
something crazy going
Hello,
on. Something
Munaman.
sinister.
Yeah, and I think that the people are now asking a lot of these questions. I did a video because I had an asthma attack, and I went to an asthma clinic, and the doctor had my nebulizer in the room. And told me he could not give it to me because of COVID-19 restrictions,
Yeah,
and that me
because-
breathing would be problematic. So he said he needed to call an ambulance, had the paramedics show up, and the paramedic said, "We are, they asked, the doctor asked, like, is it okay for us
to give it.
to give it? Can you give her the nebulizer in the ambulance? Get into the ambulance." The ambulance said, "We are not allowed to give you a nebulizer treatment because of COVID-19 restrictions in the ambulance." So, when you're having an asthma attack, your lungs are closing
Closing,
and closing
yes.
and closing. And if it wasn't for just, chance I had my car there and the ambulance allowed me to take it in there, I'm thinking, how many people are dying
Because of that.
because you're going against your Hippocratic oath and you're telling
Again, he's following his Hippocratic oath by not putting himself at risk and risking his own patients. Like, yeah, this seems like a really weird fringe case. I don't necessarily think that they're calling an ambulance for every person who's going into the hospital with like an inhaler. This seems like a weird stretch to me. I feel like if this was like a real recurring problem, we'd be hearing from a lot more asthmatic patients. Because people with asthma also get COVID-19.
people who can't help. And they said there was one specialized room that only exists at the hospital where they are allowed to give nebulizer treatments.
And that's so sad.
Crazy.
In our clinic, we give nebulizing treatments.
Right, just
Because,
like-
Yeah,
all my
it's
staff
that
are on
lady.
hydroxychloroquine for prophylaxis. We've
Right.
been seeing patients. We hug them. We talk to them.
Right.
We're living a fear-free life.
Right, and I live a fear-free life as well, and that is now considered extremely controversial, and they will demonize you if you are not living your life in fear, and you see your family and you see your friends. I mean, especially me, how dare you put your baby at risk? And I'm going, can someone show me the statistics of babies that are dying of COVID-19?
I know, that's crazy.
Right, and
Let's see. Oh, look. Babies can die from COVID-19. It's almost like they're not superheroes. It's almost like they're tiny human infants. Oh, look. Do babies have a higher risk of dying from coronavirus? They have a weaker immune system, but death rates for infants are low. This is true. The death rate for infants is low. It's not zero.
and so this is very interesting. So I want to talk about sort of what happened to you, because the interesting thing is that you're
Also, Gwyn Jarne, or Gwyn Jarne, thank you very much for the follow. King of William, thank you very much for the follow. I appreciate it very much. Also, I just got a bunch of new people in the chat. Thank you to everyone who's hopping in. By the way, my name is Jack. I'm a socialist, and I advocate for socialist positions. And generally, I just want to make the world a better place and to have it be a more equitable, kind, and democratic, free place. Is the death rate number in that article? Can you put it up? Let's see. Where is the death rate? Let's see. So infants seem to be in a category of their own amongst children, not faring nearly as well as their toddler, grade school aged, and teenage peers. Of the 95 infants in the CDC study, 62% were hospitalized compared to 14% at most of 1 to 17-year-olds. Let's see, just over 10% of infants had severe infections from COVID-19. Okay. Yeah, it doesn't have the exact death rate in here. It is lower for children, but also, like, it's not zero.
You're from Cameroon, right? You come to America. You're not in politics, right? So you don't understand what it is when you are in politics, where very quickly...
Oh, by the way, Forsin Vex, Jack is my name. Yes. Hello. I'm a girl named Jack. How's it going?
They will try to destroy every fiber of your being if you don't say what they like. And if you had remained out of politics, actually, you are the perfect. They would put you on a platform. You're an immigrant. You're black.
A female.
You're a woman.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? You're a doctor now. You've worked hard. This is like...
Wait, what about Ilhan Omar? Ilhan Omar is an immigrant who's black and worked hard. Candace Owens, I think that you shit on Ilhan Omar like all the time, though.
Like... Dr. Stella Emanuel, here she is. We love her.
Yes.
But you say something and don't realize it's political. You say hydroxychloroquine works, which puts you in line accidentally with the President of the United States.
And I actually happened to like him.
And all hell
So
breaks
that
loose.
was really, really crazy.
Right.
And you know, he was, but as we started fighting online, we started meeting other doctors that we're fighting to. Like, oh, this works. Why don't you want to take care of patients? This was like in March, April. And then by sometime in May, I was like, this is not
Ilhan is a
a
queen.
science battle. This is a propaganda battle. This is a sinister battle. And so I said,
Ilhan is a queen, but also don't stand politicians. In this house, we don't stand politicians, we stand policy, okay? Hey. Does Ilhan get a Gundam? Ilhan will get a Gundam when we decommodify the United States and make the world better for everyone, okay?
I'm done playing nice. You know, you cannot come into a street fight with a suit. So I took off the suit. And I would go after them. I would just attack them too. Like, oh, y'all want people to die. I hear one ER doctor told me, oh, you know what, I don't believe in hydroxychloroquine. I said, tell me what shifts you work, in what hospital you worked at. I can go back in every one of those shifts and tell you how many patients you killed. They were like, oh, you're being mean. I said, I'm being mean to you. The patients you did not treat are dead. So that is how, so I got to a stage where I was like, you know what, this...
Can you cite any of the science, please? Also, Tulik Mona, thank you very much for the follow. And I'm sure you're worth more than 2 licks, okay?
cannot be happening. You know, I'm a minister of the gospel. I cannot know the truth, see people getting well, and just keep quiet. I cannot let Americans die. So I got to that, if I perish, I perish moment. By the time I got to DC, I was at, if I perish, I perish. I'm just not going to let Americans die. I'm not going to shut the truth down, and nobody's going to stop me. If they want to kill me, let them do it. I don't care. So that is where I was when I got to DC.
So this for you was a tremendous
Yes.
act of bravery.
Yes,
it was, I'm ready, this is
I'm
the
ready for
truth.
whatever. I'm
No
gonna do the truth
citation.
And I'm just going to
whatever
simply
price I
tell
have to pay.
people
Yes.
what I'm seeing, and this should be okay.
Yes.
And it was not okay.
3, but you have
But
to
it
buy
was
me
actually
dinner
fun.
first.
It was fun.
It was fun.
So
Hey.
you went from being a doctor who would have been celebrated as a black woman
Yes.
to being
being-
called
yes,
a
names.
demon
Sperm
sperm doctor was,
yes,
was
that
the
was-
tag they gave
yes,
you.
yes,
And this
that was
started with
crazy.
Daily Beast, which is probably one of the loudest propagandists.
Yeah, I actually praised him for exposing our ministry. He did a pretty good job, really sitting down and breaking out everything I do in deliverance ministry. He was like-
And so that's, and what's
Yes,
also
so
interesting about that
CNN,
is
yes.
obviously the Daily Beast, they are
Again, just to revisit her ministry.
Die! 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 Die by fire! Die by fire! Randa bashaka basaka basaka! Kill them! 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 Randa bashaka bas.
By the way, as somebody who's very good friends with a number of Wiccan people who would be considered pagan or witches. This is a bit worrying to me, you know? But, yeah. Also, yes, I believe demonic spirits that sleep with women, not demon sperm. Is this it? I'm not going to watch that. Not going to watch the whole thing there. Let's see. I was talking about demonic spirits that sleep with women at night. They just use demon sperm to discredit me. All right. We're good. We're good. We can just stay with this one. Anyway. Yeah. It's a bit nutty over here.
Very far left, very socialist, you know, very propagandist. And what's very interesting about them, though, is that this is the same public.
Yeah, this lady should get like every time the camera switches over to her, it should be like, you know, every time they introduce a new character in the Borderlands games, it should be like that, just with her quotes. Am I allowed to poop on politicians? Not literally, no, but figuratively, yes.
Location that routinely refers to Americans as racist, sexist, xenophobic. You know, if you don't believe
Believe what they believe in.
believe what they believe in, right? So they are all about, we want to promote Black women, and if you're from Islam, this should be this should be celebrated.
Ooh, handsomest robot. If you want to send that over to one of my mods, I think Archangel the Cobb is around. If you whisper it to him, he can send that over to me. I'd be interested in looking at it.
And then they start digging into your spiritual beliefs. Suddenly,
yes.
this isn't about they're not contesting hydroxychloroquine.
they're
They're
not
not
contesting my
contesting
medical
anything
knowledge.
medical.
Yes.
They're like, let's actually look into her
See whether we can find
spiritual
something,
beliefs.
yes.
And this is timely right now because with the Amy Coney Barrett, you see that asking her.
By the way, if anyone in chat is interested, check out our Discord. We have a lovely little community over there, where we look at pets, we post selfies, we talk about our days, and we support one another. It's a really nice little community. I highly recommend it, and I hope you enjoy it if you swing by.
About her
Anything about
qualifications,
jurisprudence,
yes.
about her qualifications. They're going into her Catholic beliefs. They're going into trying to make it sound like she was in a Catholic cult of some sort.
Yeah,
and
that
this
is
is
good
the
because she's
angle.
standing her ground. Like
She's
I stood
standing her
mine,
ground,
yes.
like you stood
I
yours.
stood my ground. I said, you know what? I would say that CNN basically gave me millions of dollars worth of advertisement, free advertisement.
Free advertising.
You know, when they started breaking down that message and destroying it, it had maybe 175,000 views. Within a week, 750,000 views. People calling me from all over the world because this is stuff that I know. So
Well, because it didn't. When I saw the video, I was assuming I was going to see something crazy. It sounded like a doctor who had treated patients and was giving feedback on treating the patients. So really, the firestorm was really just that they had censored this, and you weren't the only doctor. As I said, there were other doctors. Another doctor, I believe, in California, who came out and said what he was seeing, and YouTube pulled his video down, and of
Yes,
course, it
put all
made
of
him.
us, yes,
Yeah,
more-
it made
more
the
famous,
video
yes,
more
more
viral and
viral,
more
yes.
famous, and nobody cared. I mean, I wasn't curious when that doctor in LA and his partner were talking. I didn't say to myself, "Well, I wonder what he believes in spiritually."
I know, right?
Right. I wonder what he believes in. What scriptures he
not
believes
even
in. Because
entirely
that has
sure
nothing
what
to
they're
do
talking
with
about at
with his
this point.
professional life.
But
Abandoned another stream because I asked how left the community was. I have a feeling I may get banned here as well. Why? I'm pretty upfront with my views. I'm a socialist. Yeah, I've never Wait. Naked selfies, or is that for OnlyFans? Yeah, it's safe for work. Sorry. We're only doing safe for work pictures on the Discord now. Maybe we'll get NSFW at some point in the future, you know? But for now, it's just safe for work, okay?
I think when it comes to my life, all things work together for my good.
Mm-hmm.
I could have gone to DC and gone back home and continued being a doctor that talked about hydroxychloroquine, but they went and dug up my ministry. So CNN did a great job exposing my ministry, which is actually needed with all kinds of stuff that's going on in this season.
So you sense a spiritual battle. I talk about that there. I said that in the opening chapter in my book. Like we are in a spiritual battle because
and people
whenever
need what
it's
we
good
do.
versus evil, and I 100% agree in your assessment that this is a good versus evil battle, and that what we're seeing is pure evil. You know, as someone who's Christian, I do believe that Satan is the author of lies and deception, and we are seeing our media act like a propagandist arm. They're lying, they're deceiving people, they're making people fearful, and fear is the mechanism through which they're able to control people.
You know, when people are fearful,
Yeah, but Phi-wise, again, it's not 0, which is my point. She was making it sound like it's perfectly safe, and it's not. It's not perfect. Again, the majority of any infant under 1 year old have to be hospitalized for severe COVID cases.
they lose all sense of reasoning. You know, and like I said, that moment at the Supreme Court when I spoke, I came out and said, you know what, Americans, you don't need to die. There's a treatment. Oh, I cannot say.
Wait, when did I slap you on the wrist? You're fine. You're A-okay. You haven't said anything out of line. It's all good.
There's a cure anymore. I can't only say there's effective treatment because Texas board was like, if I say so, there's a cure. You know, we got this part going on Texas board, and eventually we settled that okay, I'm going to say there's effective treatment, and they'll back off and leave me alone. But they are still coming after some other doctors. So when I said this thing on that day, it broke. It's like fear was broken. The whole
Phi-wise, my argument was not that we should shut it down because it's a danger to infants. My argument is that we should shut it down because the mortality rate is far more than the flu. In the United States, it's around 2%. The mortality rate of the common seasonal flu usually doesn't exceed, like, it's between 22,000 and around 120,000 max. We're already far past that. Pretending like these things are equivalent is a really silly tactic. And I think you should rethink your argument, okay?
people had hope. There was a watershed moment. Something broke in the spirit. That's why I say I'd been praying and fasting for this moment. Something broke. That in the history of viral videos, no video ever went that viral, ever, that fast. You know, and it was.
I don't think this is true. I'm going to say citation needed on this one.
Was like worldwide. All the nations, the prison
it's all good, your brother
prison
Levi. I'm glad you're here.
Caged the nation broke. So they tried. It's like, of course, you know, it's all the CNN and whatever they are doing, but they can't stop me because I was trained for this.
So what has happened since that moment? Since that going viral, you go back to Texas and
yeah, you were talking infants, but you then went on to like try and like extrapolate that my issue was with the mortality rate of infants. So, like, that's not the overall issue I have. I don't, like, all I was saying is that she was saying it's perfectly safe for her infant, and that's not true. One commentator said that Coney 2012 video was the most viral video in history, about 34 million views in 3 days. Jeez. Yeah, that dwarfs hers. Jeez. Also, if you guys see me squinting, it's because my eyes are bad. Infants can be carriers as well. Why is this hard to understand? I don't know why it's hard to understand for some people. Guys, we're gonna take a quick break because I just remembered I haven't been showing. We haven't been doing the lovely like showing of animals, and I'm extremely excited to show you more animals. All right. Let's go to the fur baby. Okay. Here we go. It's time for some extremely good dogs. Whoa. Look at this one. You can definitely post fur babies. Do it in the fur baby Discord channel. There you go. Head over to the Discord and post your pets. Yeah, this is one of Revolt Rise's dogs. An absolute sweetie. Look at this pup. Look at just wants to play. Just wants to play with this obnoxiously large stick. Fantastic doggo. 10 out of 10. Sleepy doggo and unidentified animal. Ugh. Perfection. It's hard being this perfect. Super stick. He's got a big candy cane rawhide bone. This is amazing. We've got 2 doggos. So cute. Ugh. Where are you going? Hello. Hi, everybody. No, you can post cats. We just have a lot of dog people. Oh, it looks like he's wearing a sweater. Little snuggy dog. He is wearing a vest. He's wearing a sweater. They're both wearing sweaters. Yay. Ugh. Perfection. Truly a perfect dog. Look at this. Look at this noble animal. This noble, comfy animal. This is Murphy. Look at Murphy. Look at... He's so little. He's so little. Look at how tiny he is. We have Annika. Look at this absolute baby of a cat. Absolute, like, puffball. What a fantastic unit. I just want to, like, I just want to fluff this cat all over. Ugh, amazing, incredible. And look at the fat cat. Look at this fat cat. It's so good. It's so good. We should shave it? No. This cat is made to be fat and fluffy. Absolute perfection. Thank you for sharing the fat cat with us, friend. Ugh, amazing. Incredible. Shaved kitty is best kitty. This is true, but I'm not terribly picky. Alright. Alright, that was a nice little break, wasn't it? Let's finish this video. Pics only or can post vids? You can post vids of animals in the fur baby chat. Good night, Hammy Fly. It was lovely having you around. Thank you for being here and for giving us your time. With the dogs, gotta go to bed. Gotta love Florida. Oh yeah, you get some sleep. It's pretty early in the morning for you. I couldn't find a photo of my 4th dog. Oh my gosh, you guys are gonna post more fur babies. Wait, look at this sweet pea. Oh, laying in the sun. Incredible. Truly perfection. Okay, let's take... Look at the ears. The ears. Precious baby. Comfy but kind of pensive baby. Oh, so floofy and soft. I'm very happy with this section of the video. This is great. Look at this little unit. An absolute 10 out of 10 dog. It's a bat. Ugh. He's so happy. He's clearly smiling. Look at that. Happy bat baby. Oh, so cute. This is wholesome content. Absolute absolute great flying baby. Wholesome. I will post the video in chat so you all can watch it yourselves. There you go. Or wait, that wasn't the right link. Here, I will
Shop
post
the
the
Google store for
I will
special
post the
Black
correct
Friday
link,
savings.
everybody. Okay. Here's the correct link. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. All right, there you go. Look at. He just wants to love you. Just wants to love. Ugh. Picture perfect dog. Chonky dog. Ugh. I love him. Or her. I love them. Amazing. Amazing dog. Interview cat. It's coming for the interviews. Incredible baby. Comfy baby. Aww. Belly rub baby. Hiding baby. Noble baby. Ugh. Ugh, amazing, amazing dog. I love him. Hidden baby. Getting a treat, baby. Ah, all of these are puppies. Fantastic puppos. Fantastic puppos. Oh. Has a little tiny toy. This is adorable. I love this. I love this so much. Hello, old man Morday. These are some very political content. Yes, we're taking a break from watching Candace Owens talk with a doctor who's peddling quack science. Let's continue, shall we?
Are you still seeing? Are you seeing more patients?
Yes. We've probably treated over 2,000 patients now.
Wow.
And we've had.
So this didn't hurt your career?
Oh no, it actually boosted my career. We got so busy when I got back home. It was so crazy. We're having. Reporters were parked in front of my clinic, and patients were calling from all over the place. People were driving 4 hours to come see me. Even now, we're still having so much. I mean, patients leave the emergency room when they go to the emergency room. And they don't want to give them
Positivity for
people
everyone.
leave the emergency room with low stats and come to my clinic. They shouldn't do that. I'm not an emergency room, but they are coming to my clinic because they are scared of going to the hospital. Our hospitals have become a jail cell of death. People go there and they don't give them the treatment they need. In fact, we've had patients where we've had to get their families fill hydroxychloroquine, sneak it into the hospital to them, and they take it and they get well. While they are while they're just waiting
Now
for
they're
them.
saying you can only
Yes.
get in certain states that you can only get hydroxychloroquine if you're at the hospital, which runs.
No, actually, you can get it everywhere.
in certain states, they're saying like you can't even get it with a prescription now. Like this is what I was talking about with Nevada. They had put in place a
Yeah, because again, there are shortages of the drug drug needs to go to people with autoimmune disorders or they literally can't function.
law where the
But all those
governor
laws are
said you
gone.
can't even get it from a doctor. You now can only get it if a doctor is treating you for COVID-19 and decides to give it to you in the hospital. And
Most
I
of
did a
those
video
laws-
on how crazy.
Yeah, that's
what was
crazy.
the point of that?
Do you know?
I'm
do you know-
forgetting his
I,
name.
I know what the point was. They wanted to give hydroxychloroquine at a time when it worked least.
It wouldn't list. It wouldn't
Yes,
work.
because hydroxychloroquine, from the mechanism of action, works early and as prevention. What I'm telling you, one thing I want to tell you, right now, everybody needs to get on prevention. You know what I'm saying? Because it works early and in prevention. So if America, right now, there is no state where there's no state right now where it's banned technically. You know what I'm saying? So even
No, they just create
they
barriers.
just create barriers. Yes,
Yeah,
we
in
have
order for you to
pharmacies
get
that
it.
will not fill it, but we do have a pharmacy. When we left there, of course, we started seeing a lot of patients. I had patients calling me from all over the country, and right now we have built a network, Frontline MDs. Frontline MDs, go to frontlinemds.com, a network of doctors nationwide that will take care of patients, that will give hydroxychloroquine in every single state.
Where is that?
Frontlinemds.com.
Frontlinemds.com.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't think it's a bad thing to have
Yes,
in
because
your
we had
medicine
to do that,
cabinet.
Yes. So now everybody, I think you need to have a little stash of hydroxychloroquine.
Right.
There is not. There is enough.
Right.
There is no shortage. India sent us millions and millions. Tiva and Mylan, they all donated millions.
No shortage, and they're
There's no
stopping
shortage,
it.
you know.
And so it's interesting. Like I said, like this used to be something that colonists were just eating bark and taking it and going in, eating bark, right? And now you can't even get it behind the counter. Now in certain states you can't even get it. I think his name is Governor Jay Inslee, who then said you can't even get.
Hey, guess what? Look. It's the New England Journal of Medicine. You know, that biased liberal rag. So what are we to do with the results of this trial? The advocacy and widespread use of hydroxychloroquine seem to reflect a reasonable fear of SARS-CoV-2 infection. However, it would appear that to some extent the media and social forces, rather than medical evidence, are driving clinical decisions and the global COVID-19 research agenda. On June 1st, 2020, clinicaltrials.gov listed a remarkable 203 COVID-19 trials with hydroxychloroquine, 60 of which were focused on prophylaxis. An important question is to what extent the article by Boulware et al. should affect planned or ongoing hydroxychloroquine trials. If post-exposure prophylaxis axis? There we go. I can't talk. I'm sorry. With hydroxychloroquine does not prevent systematic SARS-CoV-2 infection. With recognition of the limitations of the trial under discussion, should other trials of post-exposure prophylaxis and hydroxychloroquine continue unchanged? Do the participants in these trials need to be informed of these results? Do the trial results with respect to post-exposure prophylaxis affect trials of pre-exposure prophylaxis with hydroxychloroquine, some of which are very large? Oh, here's one trial with 15,000 healthcare workers. That's pretty wild. The results reported are provocative and definitive, suggesting the potential prevention benefits of hydroxychloroquine remain to be determined. Yeah, it's... So, again, this was in August. The benefits of this drug are not established. They're not firmly established, if they even exist at all, which currently the NIH, which they referenced earlier in this video, it doesn't benefit people who are hospitalized. So there is no evidence currently that it prevents COVID-19. There's also no evidence that it helps people who are hospitalized with COVID-19.
Get it, from a doctor prescription, now to get into the hospital, and these barriers.
I use she, her. I'm a lady. I'm a girl named Jack.
Going back to me saying having the asthma attack and saying you must go to the
You must go to
hospital,
the hospital, yes.
to get something that is so simple,
Do you know
nebulizer
how many
treatment.
people have died because of that?
That's what I'm thinking, and so I think of that, and the question I always ask myself is, first and foremost, didn't you guys tell us the hospitals were overwhelmed? Now you're sending every person to the hospital, right? Now you're making the hospital the conduit that every single person.
No, it's because there's a fucking difference in how many people are needing to be hospitalized. They're not sending every person to the hospital. That's the problem. Our hospitals are now getting overwhelmed with the number of people who need hospitalization for COVID-19. This isn't that difficult to understand.
Person must go through to get any kind of treatment. What happened to the hospitals?
I
Are overwhelmed,
appreciate
right? None of this makes any sense.
Yeah,
you
they
know?
started with, let's not overwhelm our hospitals. Let's flatten the curve, and then 2 weeks later they just started moving it, and right now we don't even know we don't even know what they're saying anymore.
No,
right now,
like everybody go to the
lockdown
hospital for
school,
everything.
lockdown the school, lockdown everybody, and I'm saying, America, we don't have to take this, really.
What the fuck are they talking about? Hello, Tumble Dryer Maya. How's it going? Everyone go follow Tumble Dryer Maya. Very based content creator. We also saw her dog Murphy. And Murphy is adorable. And if you think Murphy is adorable, you should go follow Maya. How was the panel? I saw that you were on Prime Kai's stream.
I've told people, I said, the government is not going to be able to do this for us. The masses will have to arise. We've been going around doing rallies, coming around doing rallies and telling people, no, you don't have to take this. The masses have to arise and say, no, we're not going to take this. That's the only way this is going to be stopped. And of course, the other thing we do is prayer. So when we left DC, there are two things we put in place.
Oh, the after panel was wild? What were you guys talking about on the after panel?
It's number one, I put together the frontlinemts.com so that we can get doctors that want to see patients. A lot of doctors have woken up since we came back from DC. The doctors that want to see patients can be able to see. It's a telehealth company. Something you can stay here and see somebody on the phone in California.
The Pirater, thank you. A, I love the name, and B, hello. I thank you for the follow. I feel like I need to sleep for a week to defragment my brain. Was it that bad? Oh, yeah. Honestly, anytime the panel discussion goes around to COVID, my heart deflates a little bit. Like, can we not talk about this anymore? Like, show dogs again? No. We're gonna finish this video first, then we'll show more dogs. The panel was very, very good. Some nice calmness in Twitch politics. I do like it when the panels come together like that. Howdy, Pirater. Centrists argued that left-wingers are authoritarian and ignorant of process. That sounds about right. I don't know. I've been listening to this woman say that we need to be treating everyone with hydroxychloroquine, and we need a populist revolution in order to demand to be treated with an unproven drug.
Anywhere in the country. We do have a pharmacy, too, that will ship medications to everybody anywhere in the country, since we have a lot of these big pharmacies that do not want to fill people's prescriptions. Mm-hmm. So we've put together the pharmacies. We have...
Again, it's not... The pharmacies have no incentive to deny people going and buying drugs from them. Pharmacies literally make money by people coming to get drugs from them. So, like, they're incentivized to sell drugs to as many people as possible. Where's the disconnect here? Like, the pharmacies have incentive to sell these things. The reason they're not selling it is because they don't have adequate supply lines to sell it to everybody. So they are instead having to pass legislation so that people who actually need it for autoimmune disorders and other actual illnesses can get their hydroxychloroquine. It's not that difficult to understand.
And then a lot of the mom and pop pharmacies, they're pretty good in taking care of patients. So there's really no ban right now in any state. There's really no shortage right now. Many doctors don't want to do it, and many pharmacists don't want to fill it, but we do have doctors and pharmacists that will fill these prescriptions. The issue right now is that people have been so programmed, people have been so deceived that they don't think they can do it, and some people just think it's dangerous. You know something? So the programming has worked. So a lot of Americans are dying that is very needless. People don't need to die. It's 2 pills a month, Candace. 2 pills.
2 pills a month. Wow. Well, I'm at the point where I just think that there just needs to be, especially now with COVID-19, a more wide-ranging discussion about all medications, and we should all be able to just simply hear different perspectives. I want to be able to hear you and your thoughts, and I want to hear somebody else's thoughts and say, you know what, this person thinks she's wrong, and I want to say these are 2 doctors who have different opinions, and now I can make a decision by myself in a free country as an individual.
Again, this is like saying, hey, we need to have a climate change panel that has a climate change denialist scientist and a scientist that argues that climate change is happening. We need to have both these people on the panel so people can make an informed decision, except that, like, having the 2 decisions there, like, those are clearly not equal positions. You don't want to present something as valid science when it's not a valid scientific position. Which, by the way, is why all of this lady's claims are anecdotal and not actually based on any data. She didn't come with a study to back up any of her claims. She's just saying, yeah, it works, because I think it works. Yeah. Also, August 16, I admire your gumption. I admire your spark of hope, and I hope that everyone in my community can collectively take that hope and use it to fuel themselves forward, you know? Fantastic display of spirit from you. Never let your flame die, comrade, okay? Never let the flame die. Your hope is inspirational to all of us, okay? You're an inspiration to doomers everywhere, okay? The paradoxical freedom to be ignorant tastes like Elmer's paste.
if I want to go with
Let's see, would it be possible at all for me to hop on for a small bit after the video to talk about this from a different perspective as a medical professional? I understand if not, just thought I'd ask. Yeah, we can talk about it for a little bit afterwards.
this doctor or this doctor.
Are we still free?
And that's the question.
Because the last time I was like, man, this feels like North Korea or something.
Right, and that's what I think has really
Yeah, this really does feel like North Korea. They're basically putting us in labor camps and killing people with anti-aircraft guns. Yeah, it's basically North Korea, guys.
been the thing that is starting to scare me, is that I've never seen any type of control like I have seen about the discussion
If Joe Biden ends up stealing the election, all right, yeah, my dude, don't break Twitch terms of service, okay?
surrounding COVID-19, surrounding the treatment of COVID-19, and surrounding the potential vaccine treatment of COVID-19. America has never been this controlled. It has never been this
Yes,
controlled.
that's why I say that.
Yeah, America has never been this controlled. Even after the Civil War, when the North occupied the South with military troops during Reconstruction. Nope, this is far worse. This is the most controlled America's ever been.
Something sinister.
Something sinister is going on. I'm writing a book right now. It's called Let America Live. And
Let America Live.
Let America Live. And I'm going to be discussing even the deep spiritual things that are going on right now. Because, when it's not even just really, they think it's about the American election. It's not. I know sometimes Democrats think that, well, if this goes on, maybe it will help them. They're just being opportunistic. Really, this disease doesn't care whether you're Democrat or Republican. It's not. This is about humanity. Because if it's about the American election, a friend calls me from the Bahamas. They're locking them down. They're not letting them take hydroxychloroquine. What has that got to do with the American elections? They're doing it in South Africa. They're doing it in Trinidad and Tobago, and many other countries. What has that got to do with the American elections? So we need to know these things before we start taking chips that are going to change our humanity, and then we cannot, make it.
Wait, what?
What has that got to do with the American elections? They're doing it in South Africa. They're doing it in Trinidad and Tobago, and many other countries. What has that got to do with the American elections? So we need to know these things before we start taking chips that are going to.
Before we start taking chips? I have no way of purging my on-screen chat. You guys can spam chat until it gets off the screen, but I have no way of purging my actual chat. Wait, maybe I do. Maybe I'm just dumb. Am I just dumb? I could be just dumb. Let me take a look. Am I just dumb? I have a clear chat option? Wait, where's the option? I'm sorry, I'm a very new streamer. Oh, okay, I found it. We're good. I think you're right that mods can clear chat. I don't think they can clear my on-screen chat. There we go. We're Gucci. We're Gucci, everybody. No need to fret. There we go. Decalcify, thank you very much for hitting that follow button. I very much appreciate it.
Change our humanity, and then we cannot, make it anymore. Do you know what I'm saying?
So again, I guess she thinks that we're going to inject ourselves with microchips. I guess that's what she thinks. But again, the scientific consensus is not looking super good for hydroxychloroquine. So if her argument is that we should trust the scientific consensus and we should trust the science on this, then we should trust the data that is coming out about it? Yeah, like I know that she's nuts. I'm just trying to lay this out for other people who might watch like the VOD or who might be lurking in chat. You never know, Believe the chip is coming to vaccinate people or something, but like chips don't vaccinate people.
We need to know these things. And I do believe
That's not
that
how
sometimes things
vaccines
get done in God's timing and sometimes it's not in God's timing. So that is why we're fighting. When I left DC, there are two things that we did. The second thing we did is that we started a prayer program that we've been praying every day. We're doing deep spiritual warfare, 2 hours, 3 hours. We're praying for America, fighting for the soul of this country.
I mean, That's great, but I would love for you to cite some studies that back up your positions, because you are a doctor.
Fighting that things will be exposed, that the deep, sinister things in the background will be exposed. Because sometimes when things get this crazy, only God can help us.
I guess CHIP
So we're
could be
praying,
the
we're fighting
children's
for the
health
nation,
insurance
we're
program, but
building
like,
coalition, we're
it
seeing
didn't seem to
patients.
really
That's
fit
actually
with
just what I've been
anything.
busy doing. I know a bunch of my other colleagues are traveling all over, doing interviews and getting, but I really am just a clinician and I'm a pastor. All I want to do is take care of people.
Right.
I don't want my fellow Americans to die. I don't want people. It hurts my soul when I see people that can't breathe. That's why I say a lot of these people that are talking, they don't see patients. They don't sit there and watch a diabetic come in, a 70-year-old diabetic come into your clinic, sitting and looking at you and thinking, I'm gonna die. This is a death sentence. Then you hug them and tell them you're gonna be okay, and they are okay. We've seen over 2,000 patients. We've lost 3 patients in over 2,000. It's compared to the numbers on COVID, that is clinically actually insignificant. And the 3 patients that we lost actually refused treatment. You know, some say we had a 92-year-old that said we treated her. She was getting dehydrated. We said go to the hospital and get some IV fluid. She's like, nah, I'm not going. I'm going to go to that hospital. They're going to lock me up in there. I'm going to die. I will not see my family. I'm not going. I'm going to stay here and take my chances with me and Jesus. That's what she said. So she refused treatment. We had a 46-year-old that really broke my heart. That day, I actually went on Twitter and said, my heart is broken. Because this young man, 46-year-old, diabetic, had a, sleep apnea, and morbidly obese, was sick, had corona. We started treating him. His oxygen was dropping. We told him, go to the hospital. He refused to go. He was borrowing oxygen from his friend. I said, go to the hospital. I mean, you've been on hydroxychloroquine for 2 days. Please go to the hospital. He refused to go. And he passed away because he's like, no, if I'm going to die, let me die with my family.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? That just breaks your heart. That people are scared to go. Do you know how many people have not gone to the hospital that have other diseases because they're scared? This is so. If we make it out of this and the Lord tarries, they're gonna look back at what happened in 2020, and it's gonna be very sad for humanity because the things that happened could not even be humanly possible.
Right.
You understand? So how do doctors sit in the hospital? Patients come there. When you have an ear infection, you go to the hospital. They give you antibiotics. They don't tell you go stay home till your eardrums are busted and you can come back. When you have a urinary tract infection, they don't tell you, oh no, just go stay home till your bladder is all busted up and your kidneys are about.
Fuck. Like, yeah, but the thing about bladder infections is they aren't increasing exponentially. If you treat every person who comes into the hospital with even bad COVID-19 symptoms, it means you can't treat the people who have extremely bad COVID symptoms because the hospital gets overwhelmed.
To pack up and then you come back. We as doctors, part of our hypocritical oath is to alleviate pain and suffering. You know what I'm saying? So why would somebody come to the emergency room that can't breathe, having this disease, and you send them home to come back when they are sick?
And they're being
That does not
protected. Because I asked that to my doctor because he was so scared about how low my oxygen levels were that he called the paramedics, and I said to him, but the treatment is right here in this room. And you're deciding not to give me the treatment that is right here in this room, the nebulizer right here, because the CDC gods told you that if I breathe in this room, you can't have it. So you'd rather have me die and abide by CDC gods.
So just to clarify, she was well enough to drive herself elsewhere. Just as a reminder for people who might not have been here for the entire video, she was well enough to drive herself to the hospital, but she wasn't well enough to, stand up and walk across the room to get the treatment for herself? I'm very confused.
And their guidelines, than to treat a patient. To me, I'm not a doctor, but that just would go so against every instinct.
Every human instinct.
Even human instincts.
Yes.
Yeah, if I saw a person and I could help them,
Oh,
right?
it's a
And I'm like,
self-driving
right here
car.
it is. Here's the vial right here. I know if I give this person, this person's dying. I couldn't imagine saying sorry, but unfortunately for them, and I do want to defend doctors, and I definitely don't mean to attack mine. They're being told they're going to have their medical license stripped.
But again, what they're talking about is not like a vial of instant cure. What they're talking about is a vial of medicine that is used for other things that also seemingly doesn't have an impact on COVID-19. This is like saying, I have a kidney disease, so I'm gonna take ibuprofen. Okay, it's not gonna help, but I guess. But in this case, other people need the ibuprofen more than you do.
That's the scary part.
Candace, listen.
They're being told that.
We already paid the price. You understand? We already became the fall guys. Nobody's coming after anybody's license. Doctors need to wake up. You're going to defend your license over people dying? Wow. I didn't defend my license over people dying. I chose to fight for our people. What are they scared of? They didn't destroy me. Why are they going to destroy you? They didn't destroy Dr. Armstrong. They didn't destroy Dr. Zelenko. Why are they going to destroy you? We took an oath to protect life.
Wait, is this stream really controversial? I don't think it is. I don't think it's super controversial.
So all this issue about doctors are scared of the license, hogwash. How many licenses are they going to come after? The exact spot came after me, and I was like, you know what? If you come after me, it's going to be on. I'm going to fight. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And they didn't destroy me.
That's right.
Because, I mean, it doesn't make any sense to me. So all these things about doctors are scared. No, they're not scared. They're being murderers.
Right. That's a great place to end. I always say, there's no consequence for speaking up.
Yeah, that's a great place to end. Doctors are murdering people. Let's end the podcast now.
Up if what you're saying is true. And yeah, I'm a big believer in that. And the consequences you can deal with, people mean tweets, calling you names, calling you demon doctor, calling me white supremacist. I can deal with name calling, because to me,
Oh yeah,
the bigger threat is
she dropped the pen. Tumblr dryer Maya, good eye. I didn't notice that.
allowing the lie to continue.
Yes.
So I want to commend you for that video, for coming out and saying what you were seeing, which was just simply the truth, and wish you luck. And we wrap every episode by allowing you to leave a 2-minute face message for the world. So you're going to look at that camera and you're going to say whatever you want, whatever's on your heart, and whatever, even though you have been viral before, what you wish every person could hear in this country at this time. Are you ready?
Yes.
On your mark, get set, world. I give you Dr. Stella Emanuel.
Right now, everybody, all I would say is get prophylaxis. Get prophylaxis. Prevention is better than care. There's no reason for you to wait. And if you get sick, early treatment. Get early treatment. Don't wait until you cannot breathe. We can stop this pandemic in its tracks. And pray for the nation, because this is stronger than all of us can handle. And we need God to help us. Thank you.
God bless. That's a wrap.
All right. Yay. It's done. Now we can talk about it, Lady Raincloud. Look, there are more fur babies. Look at it. Look at all these good fur babies. Oh, big nail baby. Oh, comfy. Multiple mattresses. This is a luxury dog. Amazing. Frank. It's Frank, everybody. Look at this. Look at this unit. A cunning cat, indeed. Incredible. Oh, lovely dogs. And cats. Sleeping in the sun. Oh. Good doggo. Expectant doggo. Wanting attention doggo. All right, Lady Raincloud, you can give me a call anytime over on the Discord. Howdy.
Hey, Jack, how are you?
I am doing great. How are you?
I'm alright. I'm good. Yeah.
That's good.
So, let me preface some of the stuff I'm about to talk about with saying that I am a former, I'm not active, I don't have a license, I'm a former military medical professional. I served in the United States Navy as a hospital corpsman for 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
I do not currently carry an active medical license or anything outside of just, basic first aid and stuff like that. However, when I see this kind of stuff, as somebody that, was in the emergency room, that worked in multiple health sectors, and I see a doctor, and again, I'm not a doctor either, so I could be wrong in some of this stuff compared to this other lady, though I don't know. What I am seeing is somebody who is actually like directly at odds with the oath that she took, that she says that she holds up on a pedestal. But I should always prefix that, I'm not currently a medical professional, I'm a former.
Mm-hmm. By the way, just as that video had to do.
Yes. Maybe I still hold to the oath that I took. I don't know. Maybe I did. I believe in oaths for some stupid reason.
Yeah.
Let's talk about a few things, right? So for those that don't know, hydroxychloroquine is used most often for malaria.
Mm-hmm.
Specifically malaria that is the vector is mosquito bites, right? So the vector of infection is from a mosquito that bites you and infects you with malaria.
Mm-hmm.
However, hydroxychloroquine can also be utilized for lupus and rheumatoid arthritis. And yeah, now according to multiple different places, wherever you look, including from the CDC, the CDC gods, all hail the Centers for Disease Control.
Hail.
Hydroxychloroquine is not recommended for coronavirus unless you're enrolled in a study.
Mm-hmm.
So if you are enrolled in a study that is attempting to ascertain the efficacy, the actual usage case and efficacy of this drug in regards to can it potentially treat COVID-19, then sure, talk to your doctor, right? But it's not recommended. It's also not recommended that you simply go out and find it and get it and take it over the counter. Reason being is because you're not a doctor and you don't know what other interactions this could have and side effects. For example, if you're taking hydroxychloroquine and you're on a drug called kaolin, kaolin is a drug that specifically is for diarrhea, right? You can also take aluminum hydroxide for like antacids, and don't take these drugs within about 4 to 6 hours on average of taking hydroxychloroquine, because it can prevent your body from absorbing the medication, which means that, you know, if you take, say, kaolin for diarrhea, and within like an hour or two you take hydroxychloroquine, it's going to pass through your body, it's not going to bond, and it's going to do nothing. Now, a couple other bits and pieces here, right? There are multiple side effects, including nausea, vomiting, right, dizziness. The big one is that a potential side effect of hydroxychloroquine sulfate, which is a known side effect, is that it can cause seizures. That would be a problem.
Super
if
cool,
you
yeah.
Especially if you were an older individual and you were at home and you were told to take hydroxychloroquine, and potentially you were already prone to neurological disorders or some sort of like major neurological issue.
Or just falling.
Falling.
Old people falling in their homes is one of the biggest causes of like death and injury.
Yes.
And like if you suddenly have a seizure you weren't expecting, that can really mess you up.
Right. Also, potentially taking hydroxychloroquine can cause heart failure. Just thought I'd put that out there.
Yep.
Couple other different issues too, but you know, including changing your hearing, changing your mood, all kinds of other things, and you know, just to toss on there, you potentially cause stroke. Very, 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 very rarely, but it's still possible. Also, you can overdose on hydroxychloroquine sulfate. Not a lot of people know that. It is possible to overdose on it. And without immediate medical assistance, you will die. Just thought I'd put that out there.
This might be a stupid question, but is that what basically happened to the people who took it for the fish tank cleaner?
I have no clue. I haven't specifically studied. I know what you're talking about. There was also like an elderly couple that took it, and the elderly male individual passed away, but the wife didn't.
Yeah, that's right.
So unfortunately, I don't know. Like, in regards to that, like, I would have to look at that specific case to be like, okay, this was obviously an overdose, because it would be mentioned by the coroner's report. You know, which you can do like I guess you could do a Freedom of Information Act request on that, because some of that's public record. Some of it's also HIPAA, though, which is the Health Information Privacy Portability Accountability Act, if I remember correctly. So yeah, just a few things about hydroxychloroquine sulfate. It can kill you. So, and we don't have peer-reviewed, full-scale, full-spectrum studies in meta-level analysis from a medical standpoint.
This is, by the way, why you wouldn't want 300 million people rushing to try and get it from their local pharmacy to use as a preventative drug, 2 pills every month, because who the fuck knows what that would lead to.
Yes. So, and of course, somebody was claiming I was being hyperbolic by saying you can overdose on just about anything. Yeah, that's true. You can overdose on just about everything. However, specifically in regards to hydroxychloroquine sulfate, which I would ask that individual if you would like to follow up after the fact and me actually educate you on the pharmacology and toxicology of this specific thing. We can do that. Though, I mean, I'm kind of booked dealing with people who are far more worth my time, so you'll have to wait a little bit. Anyway, also, specifically of note, it is always recommended when you get hydroxychloroquine sulfate not to share the medication with other individuals. That's actually specifically in the warning when you, like, we've all been to the pharmacy for drugs.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to call them drugs. We've all been to the pharmacy for medication, right?
Right.
And the pharmacist goes, "Do you have any questions?" And here's the paperwork that says like how to take it and gives you like your precautions, your interactions, overdose side effects, uses, all that kind of information, right? With hydroxychloroquine sulfate, it is also specifically mentioned, like they go out of their way to say, don't give this to other people. Don't do it. This is for you. Now, of course, again, I guess I'm being a little hyperbolic there. We do that for other medications as well.
Mm-hmm.
But when you have a medication that could potentially cause heart failure and seizure and stroke,
and you don't know who else is taking it,
you probably don't want to give it to other people, and you don't also want to risk on overdosing on it.
And I would guess this is the kind of medication you wouldn't want to prescribe to someone with heart disease or
no, you wouldn't.
Heart
Absolutely
problems. Like, and yeah, that's one of the leading causes of death in the United States. So maybe advocating this for like mass blanket prescription is probably not a great idea.
No. And and again, so like there's the issue here.
Also, sorry to interrupt you, but psychosis. If you're a medical professional, I will take your opinion into consideration. If you're not, I'm going to defer to the actual medical professional who I am talking to, who has experience with medication, and giving it to people. Yeah. So I will
12 hours a day, 6 days a week.
I will
at a hospital.
I will defer to somebody who actually knows what the fuck they're talking about, rather than someone who doesn't. Unless you do, in which case you should probably say that up front.
I would like to know. I mean, if I have somebody else who's a trained medical professional that's disagreeing with me right now and saying I'm being hyperbolic, feel free. We can have that conversation at the end of the day when I'm actually feeling like I want to engage with you from one professional to another.
It's true.
Anyway, moving on.
It's true. Decalcify. Spicy takes all around. And also, handsomest robot, you also wouldn't want to prescribe this to the elderly, who also have a larger likelihood of having heart complications or stroke complications or having negative effects if they have a seizure. And that's also the group of people who's most likely to be die from COVID-19. So they're most keen to get it. So you're literally telling the group of people who shouldn't be getting blanket prescription of hydroxychloroquine to go get it. And that's part of what's infuriating about that entire video.
Yes, and June 16th, by the way, the Federal Drug Administration withdrew its Emergency Use Authorization Act for hydroxychloroquine sulfate, by the way. So that was back in June that the FDA withdrew the Emergency Authorization Act. So, anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, again, let's when we're talking about efficacy and we're talking about studies and we're talking about attempting to ascertain the efficacy of a drug in other use cases, this is something that requires a great deal of patience and a great deal of sacrifice, and requires the clerk dispensing the orders of another is more credible than the scientists. I'm done with this individual. Anyway, so I'm going to just close up chat.
Yeah, it's all good.
So
I generally advise not looking
I was
at
a
chat.
nurse, but I guess that makes me just a clerk.
Yeah.
Hospital corpsmen are basically LPNs. We're basically licensed practicing nurses.
Yeah.
So we operate in tandem as a pair. So there's a corpsman and a registered nurse, operating under your standard your resident and your standard hospital procedures, and we have patient lines and stuff. And while I will admit my primary areas of care were complicated OBGYN, maternal infant child, emergency room medicine, and specifically neonatal intensive care, I wasn't just a fucking clerk. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah,
my apologies.
I don't know. Maybe the U.S. military had more faith in a in her expertise than you did, but I think unless you know better than the entire U.S. military, I mean that I guess that's your call, but I'm gonna press X to doubt on that one, friendo.
I'm gonna press X to doubt on that one too, very much. And and if Jack wants it, I will send her pictures of my identification and of my certification
You
and
do
everything
not
else
need
like
to do that. I know you well enough.
I'm glad you do. So anyway, moving forward with a couple other different bits and pieces here with the issues with prescribing a drug specifically manufactured for one vector of care and attempting to use it for another. You and I, as trans individuals, we're well aware that spironolactone is usually prescribed for blocking testosterone, right?
Yeah.
Okay. That's not its primary care.
That's right.
Right?
Yep.
That's a secondary effect. It was an unintended effect. They didn't even know that it did it until they, did studies and efficacy studies and all the other kinds of things. Now, spironolactone is also a diuretic, causes you to go to the bathroom a hell of a lot more often. And spironolactone is utilized, if I can bring up the pharmacology here real quick. Let me bring it up. Specific use cases for spironolactone, high blood pressure and heart failure medication, right? So we're looking specifically to lower high blood pressure so that we can help prevent kidney issues, heart attacks, and strokes. Now, there's some issues with that too, right? When we put people on spironolactone specifically to do something it wasn't intended to do, I don't know if you were ever told this or not, but there's some massive side effects with spironolactone, such as dizziness, lightheadedness, diarrhea, nausea, and vomiting, headaches, and some other issues, including like potential kidney failure if you take it for far too long. I believe the prevailing study right now is about more than 2 and 3 years on spironolactone can cause your kidneys to just stop working.
Right.
So yeah, and we want to know these things, right? We want to know these things because we want to do studies. We want to make sure that that we actually do give a shit about the oath that we took, and that we're taking into consideration that we're dealing with the lives of human beings.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
so like,
and
sorry, go ahead.
I have to keep hammering this home, but again, the National Institute of Health from the United States Department of Health and Human Services, which the lady in the video we just watched referenced as like a good source of information, put out a release on November 9th saying hydroxychloroquine does not benefit adults hospitalized with COVID-19. So,
it doesn't.
So again, the benefits of this drug are incredibly in doubt at best.
At best. Now, are there some efficacy studies being conducted right now? Yes, there are. Here's the thing about efficacy studies, about testing. You're testing a drug on people. And if it fails, you're still sacrificing human beings in the process. So that's also something to take into consideration.
Right.
Where we go from like animal testing trials to human trials and things like that. And then when you're testing medication on people, there's still a potential that you could cause far more harm than good if you have an idea that this drug can do X and you decide to conduct human trials and it doesn't, and there's a loss of life, that's on you as a medical professional and as a scientist to take into consideration. Like, again, this lady was talking about, doesn't it break your heart? Well, yeah, it does break my heart. It also breaks my heart when a medical professional that is supposedly a renowned and trained doctor is talking about murdering people like me because we're Wiccan.
Yeah, that was fucking weird. That was like, I went in just being like, oh, okay, she's a preacher. Okay, that's interesting. Let's see what this is. And I'm kind of like flipping through it, and I got to that part, and I'm like, holy shit. Excuse me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there was 25 women that were murdered during the Salem witch trials, 19 of whom were hung, one of whom was crushed, and others died in prison. So yeah, I find Again, I'm going to press X to doubt. When you're bringing your religion into your practice, when you're bringing your religion into being a medical professional, you're doing it wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think, for example, being a practicing Wiccan, going into the hospital, working 12-hour days,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes 6 days a week, that if I knew my patient was Christian, that I wouldn't help them?
Nope. I don't think that you would refuse care to someone who's different than you.
Yep. And as Legend of Alec posted, and it harm none, do as ye will, which is the Wiccan read meaning law, the prime law of Wicca, and it harm none, do as ye will. A little bit of a libertarian take, but we're okay with it, right?
Yeah.
So...
okay, maybe psychosis. Maybe your disconnect here is that you're not aware that we were talking about.
Guys, living on junk food?
Video,
Stop. Eat real food that tastes great and lose.
Featuring Candace Owens that went out about 10 days ago.
Am I sounding particularly male tonight? Do I need to work on my voice?
No, you sound great. I think you sound great. Anyway, and
no, I've been misgendered all night.
oh, that's really shitty. I'm sorry. But I like your voice, to be honest with you.
Thank you. It's the most dysphoric thing about me, believe it or not.
But yeah, we're talking about this because this Candace Owens show, which has been watched by 250,000 plus people, has a lady on it who is advocating for hydroxychloroquine. That's why we're talking about it. We're not talking about it just because. We're talking about it because it's a relatively recent video with a relatively large number of people who have watched it on a channel that's followed by almost 3 million people. So, yeah, again, like this is the additional context for you, right? We're not talking about it just because it's fun. We're talking about it because the PragerU channel is peddling junk science to people, and it could actually get people killed.
Very much so.
And the reason we're talking about Wiccan stuff is because the doctor that is being talked to here is also a pastor, a practicing religious figure, and this is one of her sermons. So yeah, this is why we're talking about Wiccan. This is why we're talking about a practicing doctor who is chanting kill them, kill them, kill them, kill them with regards to witchcraft, which implicates Wiccans. Again, this is why we're talking about these things. We're not pulling them out of a random ass hat. And so
apparently that's all I do is pull shit out of a random ass hat. I would like to see what an ass hat is, though, Jack. I have to say.
I don't know. But again, this is why we were talking about these things, and I don't think you can say it's this is like extremist. I would agree with you. I would agree with your take that PragerU is an extremist organization, as is Candace Owens. I think Candace Owens is an extremist.
Wholeheartedly.
And like that's the issue, though, is because a lot of people in this country don't consider PragerU extremist. They consider PragerU middle of the road. And that's why they have 3 million people who pay attention to what they say. 2.84 million, sorry. And that's why this video has 269,000 views. So like, yeah, I mean, you can definitely check it all out for yourself. I hold nothing against you for doing that, but I want you to understand that we're talking about this because a lot of people pay attention to what PragerU says. A lot of people pay attention to Candace Owens. A lot of people pay attention to this shit. So yeah. Why I challenge the statement as hyperbolic, I've watched them and a wide spectrum of content. Yeah, except that, again, the evidence is just not there to back up what this lady is saying.
Nope.
And again, she has her sermons calling for the, like, kill them, kill them, kill them, kill them for people who practice witchcraft. So, yeah, this is why we're talking about stuff. It's not hyperbolic. This is where we are. Anyway, Noodle Snoots Oodles, thank you very much for the follow. I appreciate it.
So, if we can, a few other things I wanna mention here is, and I feel like we have to mention, and it's like you said earlier. I'm just
Whoa,
so
whoa,
sick
whoa,
of the
whoa,
COVID
yeah.
thing.
Sorry.
The whole world, because
Psychosis. It's literally the number of subscribers they have. Unless you think that YouTube is miscalculating how many subscribers they have, that's fucking stupid.
Can we just like maybe not
Sorry.
engage with that
Yeah.
person?
Yeah.
I don't want to tell you what to do in your house.
Yeah,
but
it's fine. I give these people way too much of my time.
you do. But it's okay because you're awesome anyway, right?
Doggo.
So, a couple other things that we want to mention with COVID. One being, like, say for example, here in the state of Ohio, most of our trauma centers, specifically the level 1 trauma centers, are at what they call code yellow, which is a level of disaster. Code yellow means disaster, right? So code red is fire, code gray is severe weather, code atom is an infant or child abduction, code pink is a pediatric medical emergency, code blue is an adult medical emergency, right? Code violet's violent patient combative. Code yellow means that the hospital is responding to a mass casualty or a disaster / catastrophic or crisis event. That's what code yellow means. Every level 1 trauma center in the state is operating at code yellow. Now, what does it mean for level 1 trauma center? So for those that don't know, there's a difference between designation and verification. But when we're designating hospitals as trauma centers, there are 5 levels. Level 1 representing that the hospital it's a comprehensive regional resource, right? It has tertiary care, primary, secondary, and tertiary care, 24-hour in-house coverage by general surgeons, referral resources, etc., etc., etc. So, for example, where I live in Dayton, Ohio, the only level 1 verified and designated and verified trauma center in the region is Miami Valley Hospital, owned by Premier Healthcare Network, which my wife works for. Premier Health operates ambulance, multiple hospitals, and Care Flight, the helicopter air ambulance. Miami Valley Hospital has 1,101 beds. It is a major regional level 1 trauma center operating at code yellow, which means what? It has ran out of the ability to withstand any additional stress. That's what operating in code yellow means. It means that we're dealing with a level 1 trauma center with 1,100 beds. That if you were to, say, get into a car accident on the interstate, can't take you.
Right.
Can't. It has to shunt you off down the train, right? So level 2, level 3, level 4, level 5. And as you head down the designation from level 1 to level 2 to level 3 to level 4 to level 5, you start getting into hospitals that simply do not have the resources. That doesn't exist. So you get down to like a level 5 hospital that might not be maybe at most 10 or 20 beds. They don't have secondary and tertiary care. They're maybe like they've been urgent care centers, right? They're just designed to get you in and then shunt you off to another hospital, right? Or they're like an overflow, like a release valve kind of effect for the medical industry.
Yeah.
Not giving a fuck about COVID has put us in a situation in Ohio where we have one county, Franklin County, Ohio, is purple, level 4 or maximum level 4 issue with COVID right now. Level maximum infection rate, and people are dying, and the hospitals are overloaded. Now, the next level 1 trauma centers are an hour and a half up north in Columbus. Or is Columbus South? I can't remember. An hour and a half away in Columbus and 45 minutes away in Cincinnati. Those are the next level 1 trauma centers. They're also operating at code yellow. They don't have the resources. What this means is a follow-on effect in which these hospitals, they don't have the staffing, they don't have the resources, they have to shunt people off to hospitals that also don't have the staffing and resources, specifically because they're smaller. And then we get a situation where these hospitals are overflowing with patients, and other patients that are dealing with additional medical emergencies cannot be taken care of.
Right.
For whatever their emergency is. Now, are you going to get turned away? Absolutely not, unless the hospital and again, these codes fluctuate. They might not be operating at code yellow right this very moment, but they were earlier. There was also a notice sent out to Premier Health employees that was like, hey, we're doing we're activating helping hands, which is if you're administrative and you're willing to come into the hospital and put your life on the line to specifically do administrative duties so that nurses, PAs, doctors, etc. don't have to do it, we would like you to volunteer and come in realizing that, yes, you're going to be placing your life in danger.
Mm-hmm.
That's where we're at because we didn't care and we didn't listen. And you've got people like this, who is a disgrace to the oath that she took. She is a disgrace to the medical profession. Not only that, but as a Wiccan, in my eyes, she's patently what she's saying I am. She's evil. My religion, I'll call it that, my spirituality doesn't call for murdering people. Hers does. So I just think, like, every single vector we look at this situation, it's gone from bad to worse to catastrophic. And we knew about it. We knew about it. In 2001, the federal government conducted an operation called Operation Dark Winter, which showed one big issue. And that was, quote, there is no surge capability in the United States healthcare and public health systems or in the pharmaceutical and vaccine industries. The simulation found that Operation Dark Winter was conducted as a military simulation in June of 2001. That was, should the United States be attacked by a pathogen or a biological weapon, would we respond to it? Now, the summary and the findings of the Operation Dark Winter found 5 things. An attack on the United States biological weapons could threaten vital national security interests, blah, 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 who cares? Current organizational structures and capabilities are not well suited for the management of a bioware attack. As I already stated, no surge capability. Dealing with the media will be a major immediate challenge for all levels of government. Should a contagious bioweapon pathogen be utilized, containing the spread of the disease will prevent significant ethical, political, cultural, operational, and legal challenges. The simulation showed that the entirety of the United States healthcare industry collapsed within 7 days.
Right. Yeah.
7 days. Now, we're not there because this was a simulation that was 250,000 people dying every day, not in the span of a year. But what we're going to see, I think, as a bit of a doomer black pill, is we're going to go from the fact that 250,000 people have died in the last year, 250,000 people are going to die in the next 6 months.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's pretty reasonable. I mean, like, I would even think that that's maybe conservative.
Probably is. It probably is. And you know, we've seen that now. And here's the thing: in 2006, President Bush had an influenza epidemic playbook. It's 236 pages. Do you want the PDF?
Mm-hmm.
I'm asking you if you want it.
Yeah, I would love it. Yeah.
Okay. 1 second. Go ahead and let me see here. US.
How do call-ins work? I mean, usually I just post my my Discord info and people can add me, friend me, and then then they call me. Yeah. Yeah, the cases are spiking in a pretty alarming way. At the moment, COVID-19 cases.
Wait, yeah. Actually, what I would like to send you to is there's a link to the PDF. It's 233 pages. This is where I would like to tell people to go. This is the Johns Hopkins University of Medicine. This is the Coronavirus Resource Center.
Okay.
If you'd like to use that map at all.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Now it's interesting because Dark Winter showed in 2001 that our system would collapse in 7 days, but that was again the level of death was even catastrophically higher. I find it a testament to the system that it lasted a year before we're now at the point where our system is collapsing. It's overrunning because, again, we knew 19 years ago that the United States healthcare system and the entirety of our healthcare system did not have the capability to surge with a massive pandemic. And we can see with the national strategy for pandemic influenza, this was put into place in May 2006 by the Homeland Security Council under President Bush. This is a 233-page document that outlines what the federal government should do in response to a massive pandemic outbreak. It outlines what every level of the federal government should do step by step. And look at that little graph down there in the bottom right.
On which?
On
Sorry.
the John Hopkins website. You had the
Oh,
the
gotcha.
graph.
Yeah. Daily deaths or
Yeah. Daily deaths.
Yep.
Yeah, and then also infection, rate of infection. I think there's a rate of infection button or
There you
somewhere
go.
around in there.
Cumulative cases,
Yes.
cumulative deaths.
Look at that. Now click over on the United States.
Click. Oops, I was clicked on the United States.
Oh, you were? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, that little graph down in the bottom right-hand corner. That's a problem
Yep.
because we had wave 1, wave 2, and now we're at wave 3.
And some people, I think, are saying that wave 2 is actually just wave 1.
Basically.
Yeah, like the massive down surge was a result of like the closures that we were doing.
Mm-hmm.
And so this was the end of wave 1. We're now going into wave 2.
Yes, we are. And it is an exponential rate of climb.
Yeah. And given that we're doing less this time around,
Mm-hmm.
it, like, again, these are the daily cases. We're at exponentially higher rates of daily cases than we were at the beginning.
And an interesting couple other points here. One, what we call the infection average, or excuse me, the infection fraction, or fraction of infection for
Say that 5 times fast.
yeah, it's 5:30 in the morning. My head's busted.
It's all good.
For being an asymptomatic carrier, right? So the rate of individuals that are asymptomatic carriers for influenza has a mean of 16%.
Mhm.
So 16% of cases for influenza are asymptomatic. The rate of the asymptomatic fraction, the asymptomatic fraction for coronavirus is anywhere from between 5 and 80%. Now, why is it between 5 and 80% instead of just knowing like a median like we do with influenza? It's because we never took any precautions, and we had no surge capability. We had no study capability. We had very little research overall on this particular outbreak of the SARS-CoV virus. And we're dealing with a virus that now has the potential that 8 out of every 10 people infected can be asymptomatic, and they can also just be carriers, and they can be fine.
I just want to point out on this map, by the way, just really quick, our COVID cases in the United States, yeah, they seem to end right at the border here with Canada.
Yep.
I don't think it's because Canada has a magic antiviral force field around it.
Nope.
They just have different policies.
Look at Mexico.
Yeah. Mexico doing way better than the United States. It's not because they have a magic COVID force field. Sorry I cut you off. I just really
No.
wanted to point that out.
No, it's your stream, Jack. You can cut me off whenever you want.
Feel free to continue.
It would be wrong of me to cut you off. That would be disrespectful.
Aw.
Yeah. So like, I just don't know how to explain this to people. We had a study. We had a simulation in 2001. Yes, it was a military-oriented study, but it still showed the inability of the civilian sector to respond. Bush administration put out in 2006.
Mm-hmm.
The Obama administration put out its own playbook that was over 200 pages, and the Trump administration did nothing.
Yep.
Nothing. And now we have 1,000-bed hospitals, major regional trauma centers with fucking helipads because they can take in helicopters. Most of them can. I just kind of like that. It's kind of cool. Anyway. I mean, I think level 1, 2, and 3 can't take helos. 4 and 5 can. I don't remember. I think like you're 1 and 2 if you don't have the access to take helicopters, but then you might have little helipad out front. Anyway, that's here nor there.
It's all good.
We've known that this was a potential for 19 years. 19 years.
Mm-hmm.
Now look at where we're at. And you've got, and I think the TLDR here, because, you know, I've gone way all over the place, is that we just watched a video in which a doctor who wants to kill people like me because I believe in Wicca, and who knows for what else, she'd probably want to kill me for being trans.
Probably.
Who knows?
Well, maybe that's not fair, but we definitely have evidence of the first
Yes,
thing.
we definitely have evidence of the first thing. She would want to kill me because I'm Wiccan, and I wear a star around my neck. Spouting bullshit science. Yeah, show Australia. That. Oh, look at that. Oops. Isn't that kind of funny? But there are only 20-some-odd million people in Australia. It doesn't scale up to the size of the U.S. Well, it's about per capita and population percentage, but you know, hey, whatever. I just think like I have begged all the streamers that will listen to me to just, when somebody comes in COVID denial, just ban them.
You know, I'm trying not to ban. What I'm trying to do is take every fucking opportunity I get to talk about this stuff, because like we need to keep talking about it. It's real.
Yeah.
It's like, guys, this is the data from one of our most prestigious medical hospitals.
Yes.
Medical universities, sorry.
Yes.
Like this is the best information we have available. It's real. It's a problem. It's not going anywhere.
Nope.
Well,
and right now the highest rate of rise, by the way, is North Dakota.
Yep. The Midwest is getting absolutely hammered right now because the Sturgis Motor Rally went all the way across the Midwest and spread it all across the country.
And one other quick thing. Forgive me, Jack.
Oh yeah. It's fine.
One other quick thing that I hate as a medical professional, former, is when people talk in percentages. People say, well, the case fatality rate for COVID is 2.3%. Do you know how much of the country 2.3% is?
It's like over
about
6
million.
Yeah.
About 6 million people. How many people are in my state of Ohio? About 12 million. You're saying 2.3% is acceptable. You're basically saying half the state of Ohio, you're okay with them dying.
Yeah.
You're also okay with the fact that 6 million deaths, which we could potentially reach in the next 12 months at our exponential rate of growth. You're okay with the fact that that would absolutely crush our medical industry and our pharmaceutical industry to the point of absolute collapse. And the follow-on would be many tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of more follow-on deaths from people who can't get help for any other medical condition whatsoever, because of the fact that our system is overwhelmed to the point of collapse. We just talked about that in Ohio. If they've got 1,001 beds, which includes their emergency room, and they have 1,001 patients, what can they not do? They can't take you. Now, unless they can't take new patients. Now, of course, this doesn't take any consideration that hospitals do have surge capability when we're talking about mass cash and things like that. So like the hospital, the military hospital that I worked at, Naval Medical Center, Portsmouth, Virginia, we have what we call a fleet hospital detachment, which is a group of people trained to build an inflatable hospital in like 24 to 72 hours. And one that was modular, and we could put in maybe 100 additional beds or whatnot. And our hospital was like a level 3 trauma center. It had like 400 beds. And we could maybe add another 100 or 200 in the span of like 1 to 3 days because we were specifically trained to do it. And some hospitals, well-funded ones, large regional trauma centers, probably have an additional surge capacity where they can get out equipment and they can get people and they can put additional resources externally around the hospital. But then we're talking about seeing people in tents outside.
Yep.
And
they're building those in the Midwest right now, like
yeah, they are.
in Minnesota and Wisconsin. I think they're also building them in North and South Dakota.
Yes, they are. And people who talk again about herd immunity don't realize what has to happen for herd immunity. That means everyone has to get sick with it. That means you're okay with 2.3%. You're okay with 6 million deaths. 6 million.
You're okay with the equivalent of a genocide happening.
Yes. Quite
Like,
literally
actively
a genocide.
happening. Yeah.
And over the next 12 months. Because again, look at that rate of climb, right? Look at that rate of climb. Tell me that if it does not continue to rise exactly the way that it's rising right now, that we could not potentially see our rate of infection rising to 500,000 cases per day, 1 million cases per day, and then our rate of death is climbing because more people are being infected.
Yeah. Well, do you have anything you want to where can people find you or follow your work?
Oh yeah. You can follow me on Twitter at Kara Raincloud, which I will toss at you. You can follow me on Twitch / Lady Raincloud. I'm a Z-list streamer. I stream occasionally. And I do have a Discord too, if you want to come and chat with me about, politics and spirituality and gaming and whatnot. Also, if you would like to follow me, I'm the director for the Club Babylon magazine for Fool's Moon Entertainment. And a bunch of other stuff. I'm nobody special.
You're special. You're plenty special.
So, very glad to be a part of the community. Very glad to be here, and thank you so very much for giving me the time of day, Jack. I really appreciate it.
For sure. And thank you for helping us out with your expertise. I appreciate that as well.
But you're welcome. I'll go back to being a clerk that dispenses the medication. All right. Bye, Jack.
Bye. Oh, that was good. That was a great way to like ground the video in some good solid information.